Hello everyone, how was your Valentine's Day? Stay until the end of today's video to see a happy Valentine's Day of Hoài Ca and Hùng. In the middle of February, when the lingering echoes of Tết still quietly rest on every street corner, when the last apricot blossoms of the season have not yet fallen completely, the atmosphere of spring still seems to linger in the air. The weather is no longer as chilly as it was in the early days of the new year, yet it remains gentle enough for people to feel the subtle turning of time. Amid that familiar rhythm of life, Hoài Ca continues to stay busy with her daily work, immersing herself in simple worries and responsibilities, almost forgetting that a special day is quietly approaching. For her, happiness has never been something extravagant or showy. Hoài Ca's happiness is simple. It is being able to prepare a warm meal every morning, hearing Tony's bright laughter echo through their small home, and feeling peaceful when she hears the sound of Hung's motorbike stopping at the gate each afternoon. As long as he returns home safely, as long as the family can sit together at the end of the day, that is more than enough for her. She has never asked for fresh flowers, never waited for elaborate gifts, and never dreamed of romantic evenings at luxurious restaurants. In her mind, love is quiet and enduring, just like the way she silently takes care of every meal and neatly folds every piece of clothing for her family. Yet this year, everything seems a little different. While Hoài Ca remains carefree within her familiar routine, somewhere else, Hùng has been quietly preparing for that special day with all the sincerity and excitement he tries to hide. From the beginning of the week, he has used every short break during lunchtime to look for a gift. Not because he wants to do something grand, but simply because he wants Hoài Ca to have a memorable Valentine's Day, a day for her to know that her silent sacrifices have always been appreciated. Standing in front of the colorful flower stand, Hùng lingers for quite a while. He looks at each bouquet, considers every stem, and even smiles softly to himself as he imagines the surprised expression on his wife's face. He does not choose anything too elaborate or overly decorated. In the end, he stops in front of a bouquet of fresh red roses, red that is not too dazzling, yet bright enough to say the words he rarely speaks out loud. To him, that bouquet is not just a gift. It is a thank you for Hoài Ca always being by his side, a sign of respect for the woman who has walked with him through difficult days, and a promise that no matter how busy life becomes, he will always remember her. After the flowers comes a carefully wrapped box of chocolates. He chooses thoughtfully, even asking the seller about a flavor that is moderately sweet, because he knows Hoài Ca does not like chocolate that is too bitter or too sweet. Then, he continues searching for a dress. Not one that is too eye-catching, nor too plain, but a soft cream-colored dress, gentle and elegant, just like her. In Hung's mind, Hoài Ca would look beautiful in cream. Beautiful in a warm and tender way, like the soft yellow light that fills their small home each night. But he does not stop there. Hùng also asks a close friend to help him decorate their small bedroom. He does not want anything extravagant, nor does he need sparkling candles everywhere or dinner at a fancy restaurant. He understands that what Hoài Ca treasures most is the familiar space of their own home. So he chooses to refresh that very place, the place that has witnessed all their joys and sorrows. A few strings of warm yellow lights are neatly hung along the wall, casting a soft glow that makes the room feel even more peaceful. A new tablecloth is carefully placed on the dining table, clean and tidy. And most importantly, the dinner that evening is prepared by his own hands. Even though some dishes are clumsily made, even though he sometimes feels awkward with the seasoning, every movement carries effort and love. He does not tell Hoài Ca anything. Their phone calls remain the same, with the same simple reminders as every day. But behind that calm tone is a heart filled with nervous anticipation. He wants to see her eyes when she steps into the softly lit room, wants to hear her laugh in surprise, wants her to understand that amid the busyness of life, he has never forgotten how to love her. And while Hoài Ca still thinks that this year's Valentine's Day will pass like any other day, something warm is quietly being prepared behind the scenes. No noise, no showiness, just silent actions that are enough to turn an ordinary day into a memorable one. A Valentine's Day does not need to be dazzling. It only needs to be sincere enough to remind each other that in this life full of worries and responsibilities, they still have one another. On the evening of February 14th, Hoài Ca came home later than usual because she had stopped by the market to buy a few extra things for the next day. The familiar road was as peaceful as always, streetlights reflecting softly on the slightly damp pavement after a chilly afternoon. In her mind, tonight would be just another ordinary evening. She thought she would open the door, place the grocery bags in the kitchen, prepare a simple dinner, and wait for Hùng to return home as she always did. But the moment her hand touched the doorknob and she gently pushed the familiar wooden door open, everything before her made her pause. The room, usually dim at this hour, suddenly glowed with soft yellow string lights hanging along the wall. The light was not harsh or dazzling, but warm enough to make her heart tremble slightly. On the table, right at the center of a brand new tablecloth, stood a bouquet of deep red roses. Under the golden light, the red petals appeared even richer and warmer, as if whispering something intimate and unspoken. Hoài Ca stood still at the doorway for a few seconds. Before she could fully understand what was happening, Hùng stepped out from behind, holding a carefully wrapped box of chocolates in his hands. His face carried a hint of shyness, like a young man confessing his feelings for the first time, yet his eyes shone with unmistakable sincerity. "Happy Valentine's Day." The words echoed in the small room, but they were enough to make her heart sway. Hoài Ca was stunned. Since they had started living together, they had never celebrated Valentine's Day like this. In previous years, February 14th had simply been another ordinary day in the middle of their busy lives. She had always thought of Hùng as reserved, not someone who often spoke sweet words, and certainly not the type to carefully prepare romantic surprises. Yet here he was, standing before her in a room lit up by his own effort, his gaze warmer than she had ever seen. Hùng stepped closer and gently placed the bouquet in her hands. The soft petals brushed against her skin, making her tremble slightly. Not from the cold, but because her emotions were rising too quickly. She lowered her eyes to look at the flowers, then lifted her gaze to him again, as if to make sure this was not some fleeting dream. He then held out the small box of chocolates. "I know you don't like anything flashy," he said softly, "but I want you to know, every day with you is precious to me." His voice was not loud, nor poetic, but every word was clear and heartfelt. Then he brought out a carefully wrapped cream-colored dress. Holding it out to her, he looked both hopeful and a little nervous. "It took me a long time to choose this. I'm not sure if it will fit." Hoài Ca took the dress into her hands. The soft fabric brushed against her fingertips, the gentle cream color exactly the shade she loved. She suddenly remembered a day when she had paused in front of a shop window, quietly admiring a similar dress before smiling to herself and walking away, thinking she didn't need to buy anything more. She had not known that Hùng had noticed. He remembered her favorite color. He remembered the style she had looked at a little longer than usual, without saying a word. Her eyes began to glisten. Not because the gifts were expensive, nor because of anything grand, but because every small detail showed that he had been observing, listening, and silently remembering everything. She spoke softly, her voice catching with emotion. "You really surprised me." Hùng scratched his head and smiled, a gentle, honest smile. "I just wanted to make up for the days I've been busy." You're always the one taking care of the family behind the scenes. Today, let me take care of you." Those words made Hoài Ca's heart melt. All the days she had quietly arranged everything, all the times she had told herself that as long as her family was safe and together, that was enough, suddenly were met with clear and warm appreciation. The small room continued to glow under the soft yellow lights. The bouquet of red roses rested in her arms. The cream-colored dress was held tightly against her, as if she feared this moment might slip away. And standing before her was the man she once thought did not know how to express love, now speaking through his actions more clearly than any sweet words ever could. In that gentle mid-February evening, within the familiar space of their small home, a Valentine's Day without noise or extravagance became truly special. Not because of roses or chocolates, but because understanding and appreciation were given at just the right moment. And from that instant, Hoài Ca understood that love does not always lie in flowery words, but in remembering one another in the smallest of details. They sat down together at a simple, yet warm dinner table. The meal was not elaborate, nor was it filled with luxurious delicacies, just familiar dishes from their small kitchen. Yet under the soft yellow lights, every plate seemed different, as if gently wrapped in a layer of tender emotion. Hùng pulled out a chair for Hoài Ca, a simple gesture that still made her smile softly. He poured her a glass of juice, his movements slow and careful, as though afraid of disturbing the peaceful moment they were sharing. Hoài Ca set the bouquet aside, still overwhelmed. She opened the box of chocolates, unwrapped a small piece, and held it out to him. The simple action made them both laugh. Neither of them said much, but in their eyes was a clear understanding, something only those who have walked through both joy and hardship together can truly share. There was no lively music, no dazzling city lights like those outside. Around them, there was only the soft clinking of chopsticks and bowls, the gentle breeze slipping through the door, and the steady rhythm of two people breathing side by side. That simplicity did not make Valentine's night any less special. Instead, it made it more intimate and genuine than ever. Hoài Ca leaned her head against Hung's shoulder. In that moment, she did not think about unfinished work or the worries waiting ahead. She simply listened to the steady beat of his heart, feeling the warmth spreading through the gentle squeeze of his hand. Her voice was barely above a whisper, meant only for him. "I don't need much. Just having you by my side like this is enough." The words were not flowery or elaborate, but they carried all her simplest wishes. After months of building their life together, after countless quiet efforts for their family, what she truly needed was simply his peaceful presence. Hùng tightened his hold on her hand. He did not speak grand promises or distant dreams. He just looked at her with sincerity and replied with a sentence that warmed her heart instantly. "I promise I'll always make you smile." It was not a loud vow, but a quiet commitment. A determination to care for her more during busy days. A desire to share every small joy with her. A simple thought that no matter how life changes, he wants to keep that smile on her lips for as long as possible. That Valentine's night passed slowly, as if time itself wanted to linger a little longer. Outside, the spring breeze brushed gently through the bamboo trees, carrying the mild chill of late-season days. The world beyond their walls remained as peaceful as any other night, but inside their small home, everything felt different. The golden lights cast soft shadows along the walls, and the bouquet of red roses rested quietly on the table, a tender highlight to a memorable evening. They did not need to say much. Sitting side by side, sharing each bite of food and exchanging small stories from the day, that was enough. Some moments do not need to be captured in photos or spoken in grand words. They remain etched in memory simply because of how deeply they are felt. For Hoài Ca, this was not just another Valentine's evening. It was the first time she clearly felt loved in a complete way. Not a loud love, not something displayed for others to see, but a quiet care, a gentle gaze, and a hand always ready to hold hers when needed. She realized that their love was like the soft yellow light in that small room, not dazzling, but warm enough to chase away every trace of cold. Like their simple dinner, always sufficient because someone sat across from her. Like a gentle promise, steady over the years without needing to be proven by anything grand. As the night grew deeper, Hoài Ca's heart grew brighter with a calm happiness. She smiled to herself, knowing that this Valentine's Day was not just a holiday, but a memory that would stay with her for a very long time. For Hoài Ca, it was the most beautiful Valentine's Day she had ever had, not because of the deep red roses or the sweet chocolates, but because she understood that beside her was someone willing to quietly love, cherish, and walk with her through every season of the year. And here, today's Valentine story of Hoài Ca and Hùng comes to a close. In these gentle days of February, when spring still lingers on every branch and between the leaves, they created a truly special memory together, not through extravagance, but through sincerity. A bouquet of deep red roses, a cream-colored dress, a simple dinner under warm yellow lights, all of it was enough to write a night filled with love. Perhaps happiness does not lie in grand gestures, but in remembering to give each other a small surprise. It is when a man who seems reserved quietly prepares every little detail. It is when a woman who is used to silently sacrificing is finally placed in the position of being loved and cherished. Hoài Ca's Valentine was not loud or showy, yet it was deep enough to make her smile for a long time afterward. And for Hùng, perhaps the greatest joy was simply seeing the happiness shining in the eyes of the woman he loves. Thank you so much for watching today's video until the very end. If you also believe that the most beautiful love is simple and enduring, don't forget to leave a comment and share your feelings. Wishing all of you warmth in your own homes, not only on Valentine's Day, but on every day of the year. See you again in the next stories on the channel.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình đang làm video. Hôm nay thì là một video khá vui vẻ và hạnh phúc, nói về ngày Valentine của Hoài Ca và Hùng nha mọi người. Không biết là ngày Valentine hôm nay của mọi người như thế nào, còn của Hùng và Hoài Ca hôm nay thì khá là vui vẻ và hạnh phúc. Giờ mình đang tạo ảnh thu mọi người. Mọi người, hẹn gặp lại mọi người ở video sau.